Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining yet another conversation with. It feels like we've been having a lot of these, but a lot of really, really valuable conversations. Today, we're going to be joined by Austin Hatch, who has an incredible story. Get off, and before I kick it over to him, every business owner that's been watching this thing is battling some sort of struggle, whether it's a struggle from the health aspect to the financial aspect to the panic aspect to navigating franchise owners as they try to figure this thing out. And we're trying to give perspective into this. And I'm really excited because I think Austin's going to put a lot of things into perspective on how to deal with crisis and adaptability. Also, for anybody that's live or watching this live on Facebook, feel free to ask questions in the comments below. And as long as we have time, we'll jump into some of those. But obviously, I don't want to waste too much time. Austin, I want to kick it over to you. You have such an incredible story. I would love for you to give us a glimpse into that and how you even get to sit in here with us and your story. I'd love.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. It's an honor and a privilege to join you. So, yeah, my life, I had a couple bad days in my life, 2 really bad days. That's it though. I mean, I've been so blessed, and those 2 bad days. When I was eight years old, my family was involved in a plane crash that claimed the lives of my mom, my sister, and my brother. Tragically, and my dad and I survived, but obviously, I had deep emotional pain from losing my dad's wife of 20 years, and my mom only being 8 years old. And then, we overcame it. We leaned on each other, and not that you ever overcome it, but find a way to keep moving forward in the face of adversity. I started to have some success on the basketball court. Got some attention from colleges. Coach Beeline actually offered me a scholarship to play at Michigan on June 15, 2011. And that was my dream school. And I accepted that scholarship right then and there on the spot. And I think I had worked really hard. I'm not trying to, say, oh, look how hard I work. What I'm saying, you'll understand what I mean by that. I had taken basketball very seriously. And I was serious about it. And fortunately, the hard work started to pay off, and I got the opportunity to go play in Michigan. And obviously, the work isn't done once you get the opportunity. But that was the start of having a good college career. But unfortunately, 9 days after I committed on June 24th, 2011, my family, my second mom, my dad, and I were involved in another plane crash, and my parents were killed tragically. And I almost lost my life as well. I was in a coma for like 2.5 months, and I had to relearn basically how to live my life when I came out of that coma. But yeah, I quickly realized that I didn't have control over the circumstances. I didn't have control over the event that happened in my life. I didn't have control over the thing that happened to me, obviously. But I knew I had complete control over how I chose to respond, and I chose to attack the adversity that I faced, whether it was learning to walk or learning how to run again, learning how to shoot a basketball, learning how to do schoolwork again, learning how to do math, learning how to do anything. I had to relearn basically how to do everything. And I attacked that with the same mentality that I attacked basketball with beforehand. So I was working to be the best that I could be at basketball. But then the event had the second try. I had the same mentality, just towards a different goal. And I think that kind of applies to anything in business too, because it's, we all face obstacles. Obviously right now with the virus and everything, that's posing some big obstacles to all of us, but we can't control that. But I think we can give ourselves a competitive advantage by how we choose to respond, because I don't think it's common in any business, especially in the franchise business, which is it's a really tough business. I actually worked for 3 years. So I know a little bit about it, but yeah, it's the thing in the restaurant business, we just got to outwork people. If we outwork, there's no substitute for hard work. And if we can attack the adversity we face with a growth mindset and attack with with the mentality that, okay, this happened, what's going on right now is beyond my control, but I have complete control over how I choose to respond. I think that's the way we can give ourselves a competitive advantage, because not every business in the country is going to attack the adversity they face with that mindset. So
Austin, I couldn't even do justice to even articulate and describe some of your experiences. I mean, and even at the highest levels with college basketball, just a testament to who you are. But what you've gone through, very few people have gone through and survived. So as you reflect on that, Austin, what's something that you, whether it's perspective or mindset, that you know to your core that no one else could really understand unless they've gone through something like you've done?
Yeah, well, you know what? Fortunately, thank the Lord that not many people. Maybe there's no one in the world. I don't know that there's anyone. There probably is somewhere, but I don't think there's really anyone that has survived 2 plane crashes. That, and I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm just saying, thank God that other people haven't had to go through that. But everyone's got a battle of their own. Everyone in the world is facing something, and I don't like to compare adversity to like what other people go through to what I went through. Yeah, maybe my battle was a little more traumatic and a little more tragic than what most people go through. Fortunately, well, unfortunately, but fortunately, other people don't have to go through it. But I think we can all attack the adversity we face with the same mentality. We can all attack with the mindset that this adversity is not meant to define me. This adversity is not going to be the reason that we don't achieve our goals. The reason that we don't achieve our goals will be because how we respond to it. So, and I think that in the restaurant business, or any business, if we can set ourselves apart by how we choose to respond, because it's not common to approach adversity as an opportunity. That's how I look at it. I look at adversity as an opportunity. You know what? I'm not thankful that I went through what I did, but that what I went through has given me a great opportunity. And obviously, like I said, I would do anything and everything to bring my family back. But since those events happened tragically, I made the decision early on that I was going to use those setbacks that I couldn't control. I was going to find a way to turn those negatives into positives.
So a lot of human beings and business owners are now craziness of the unknown right now. We don't know much about this disease. For the first time in our lives, things are shut down, and it's hard probably for the brain to comprehend it. So we don't have any backbone or back experience to say, well, when we went through this before, this is how we navigate this. Whether you're dealing with family members who are sick, or you're dealing with a business that cannot operate because it's in a restaurant space and just wasn't prepared for third-party delivery or whatever. So when you go through the situations that you did and have, how do you get back up? And then secondly, how do you look at today of what's going on in the world in a different mindset given what you have experienced in your life?
Yeah, well, so the fact that I was in 2 plane crashes, well, the fact that I was in one, there's no playbook to follow. There's no encyclopedia or guide to say, okay, what, if you go through this, if you experience these kind of injuries, if you lose your family, your mom and your siblings when you're 8, and then if you lose your dad and your second mom when you're 16, a week after you commit to Michigan, there's no playbook for that, right? And so I just kind of, okay, you know what? Someone's gotta write that playbook. Someone's gotta be the model, set an example of of how to make a successful road to recovery. And you know what? At the end of the day, I just made the decision to control the controllables. I couldn't control a lot of the things in the restaurant space. We can't control the virus. We can't control whether or not things like that. But if we make it a priority to control the things that we control, whether our service to our customers, making sure that we're taking care of people, taking care of the employees of the company, taking care of everyone else, doing what we can. That's just what I did. I'm sure there are things that I could have done that would have helped me make a better comeback. But I feel like, given the circumstances, people. First of all, when I was in a coma, when I first got in the coma, they didn't know that I was going to survive the night for the first week or so, right? And then they didn't know if when I woke up, I was going to be in a wheelchair and then be in a wheelchair the rest of my life. Then when I started to come out of there, probably never going to be able to play basketball again. And obviously I didn't get back to the level of playing at Michigan. I got in the game a couple times and hit a few free throws, which was cool. But I wasn't a contributing player or anything, so I'm not going to say that I was, but. you know what, people are always going to tell us that we can't. There's going to be a lot of people, who are going to say, you won't do this. Yeah, you won't overcome this. There's no way. And I just took that as motivation, because it's like, okay, you tell me I can't, I'm going to show you a way. I'm going to prove you wrong. And not that, like, I think a big thing is so, like, in business, we have competitors, right? Whatever business you're in, every business has competition, or if you're an athlete, you have competition. There's competition in pretty much anything in the world. And I think at a certain point, though, we got to compete against ourselves, because, for me, like, there was no one who was going through the same recovery that I was. There wasn't, I didn't have, a friend of mine who had the same thing happen that I was competing against to make a better recovery than he was, or whatever, right? Or a restaurant that I'm trying to, offer better service than them, or offer a better product, or whatever it may be, or have a better image to draw on more clients based on the, the appearance of the building, or whatever it may be. But, if I competed against myself, and I made the decision that I was going to keep pushing no matter what, as soon as I worked hard, then I was going to work harder. If I did that, I knew things would take care of themselves.
Austin, I'm gonna, and you have to excuse if this question is not silly, but stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the fact that I'm asking it must mean it's an average. When the plane was crashing, did you know what was going on?
I mean, I don't remember the second one, because I was knocked out right on impact and stuff. And actually, I don't really remember about a month before the second crash. Like, I don't like Coach Beyond offered me a scholarship on June 15th, 2011. And I remember that video, like committing, because there's video footage of it, but I don't remember it. Like if I didn't see, if there's some things that if I don't see them, or if someone doesn't tell me, I don't remember, because I think the studies are showing it takes things like a little while to, get embedded in your long-term memory. And like the last part of my sophomore year of high school, I don't really remember. Maybe none of us really do, but
no.
Yeah.
Austin, what's amazing too is, I mean, you said on June 15, I think 2011, you were offered the scholarship. That's a big deal. I mean, that's a really high level. I mean, how did you feel when you got that scholarship? And then what do you think, like, along the way, what gave you that edge to get that scholarship?
Well, it's, it just comes, obviously, Michigan was my dream school. My mom went to Michigan. I've been a Michigan fan my whole life. And so yeah, it was my dream. It was a dream come true, really. And, but that, getting the scholarship wasn't like mission accomplished. That was just that was opening the door, and I had to run through it, and I had a long way to go. I just getting that opportunity is a first step, and that's a big step. But, I wanted to go to Michigan and be a great player and help the team win championships and, help the team on the court and stuff. But since I couldn't do that due to my injuries, I just made the decision that, if Coach Bien was gracious enough to honor my scholarship, that I was going to do everything I could to help the team, by, encouraging guys, motivating guys, being the best teammate that I could be, because, we all need great teammates. Every team needs people who are on the team who are great teammates. Restaurant, business, family, sports. There's no substitute for those people who are great teammates and who encourage guys. And, maybe I didn't do much. Maybe I didn't really help the team at all. But if my teammates, if I encourage, always was positive and encourage my teammates in practice, if we would finish drills and Coach Beyond would be disappointed in the outcome, and if he would we had to run sprints, I would finish last every single time. I couldn't run very fast after my accident and after the injuries I suffered, but I ran as hard as I could, and every time. And I finished. I think I finished. So say I ran 1,000 suicides over my 4 years in college, I finished dead last every single time. Never finished second to last. Finished dead last every time. But I ran as hard as I could. And, I'm not going to say I know the impact that had on my teammates, but if they see me running as hard as I can, I mean, how can that not make them want to give a little extra too? And so I think the same is true in the business world. If we got people on the team who, are working as hard as they can a rising tide lifts all boats, right? If everyone on the team gives a little extra, I mean, there's no way that can make a positive impact on the whole organization.
How do you define days or moments that might seem bumpy to you now? I mean, when you put it in perspective, you've lived the 2 worst days of your life. So do you differently? Are you able to brush things away? And, the reality is a lot of people are having their bad days in their perspective with their businesses right now, and they're scared. But I think your story, like, it would be irresponsible of any human being, because you are probably the only one in the world to have gone through what you have. It would be irresponsible to have it almost takes away the permission to have a bad day. So I would love to understand, like, how do you brush off bad moments? How do you keep positive attitude, given what your story is?
Yeah, well, first of all, I never compare what I went through to what anyone else goes through, because everyone's got a battle of their own that we know nothing about. Everyone is facing something. Everyone that I ever speak to, so I travel around speaking now, sharing my story, talking about overcoming adversity, perseverance, things like that. And everyone in any audience that I've spoken to, there's always people out there that are fighting a battle of their own that most of the other people don't know anything about. And so I never compare, what I went through. Yeah, what I went through may be a little more tragic, traumatic, graphic, whatever adjective you want to use. But I don't, say, oh man, you should never have a bad day. You've had such an easy life, like you haven't gone through anything. I mean, like, everyone's got a battle of their own, right? And what I went through, yeah, maybe no one has had a life-threatening injury. Hope and thank the Lord. But I just try to keep things in perspective, because it's, if I can share some of the things that I've learned the hard way, and that can be of value to people as they go through adversity of their own in their own life, whether it be in their family, their business, whatever it may be. If I go to speak to an audience of 400 or 500, and one person in there remembers what I say about the way to look at loss, the way how I overcame, how I responded to it, and if they can take that with them when they experience adversity in their own life, I think that's part of my job. That's why I'm still around, is to be able to share some things that I've learned to help others. And yeah, I don't ever compare. Actually, I really like, because after I speak, a lot of the time people will come up to me and say, thank me for my message, and and then they'll say, hey, I'm going through this. I lost a parent, I lost my mom last week or last month, or I lost, something like that. There's something some problem, whether it's they've lost someone, or something is going wrong in their family and their business. And if they say, what you shared really gave me some perspective and some hope that it will be better if I just keep plugging away in the midst of this adversity. So yeah, I obviously I have tough days now still. It's tough is a relative term for me, right? It's not like no more days like what I've gone through in the past, fortunately. But I just look at it as, okay, you know what? I remember how we attacked the adversity that I faced years ago, respectively. And so, yeah, if we overcame that, there's no way we can't overcome this too.
Austin, I appreciate how humble you are in describing all this, right? And I mean, to me, just hearing you describe those suicides and coming in last, I mean, 1,000, whether 1,000 times or not, that's all about character. And to me, that's, I mean, aside from even being at Michigan and getting a scholarship, and then even after your injuries, approaching it that way. And, and again, you're very humble when you describe other people. As everyone goes through this crisis, and some are getting hit with it on a health level, some at a business level, I just think in many ways, you pray that everyone will be safe and good, but you also look at this adversity as an opportunity to reset. Whether it's even the little things. I mean, even me, from a personal level, I have a blessed life, and, just coming home and spending more dinners together and stuff like that. But I mean, do you think these are the times where people really need to adapt their thinking and really maybe look at it as an opportunity to reset their lives?
Yeah, I think it's a great time to do that. And I'm not saying you got to do a 180-degree turn, but maybe it's the time to spend more time reflecting and talking with your family about the way things are going. And maybe now's the time to make it, maybe a 10-degree, change, rather than, a complete 180, just maybe make a little shift. And then it'll make a big difference, I think. And yeah, so now's a great time to reflect. And, the way I look at it, the glass is always half full. Obviously, it's tough being in the restaurant business right now, especially in a place that, is really only eat in. Or whatever it may be when most things are closed right now, or at least aren't getting the business that they usually do. But yeah, I just choose to look at things, from a positive mindset, positive frame of reference, whatever word you want to say. And yeah, just look at the glasses half full, and look at, like right now, my wife and I are at my in-laws' house, our family's house, because we live in Ann Arbor, so we've got to get want to make sure we stay away from there, because Ann Arbor is about a half hour from Detroit. So yeah, we're just spending more time with our family, and it's like, what, I'm obviously not saying I'm glad the virus has come, and I'm obviously I'm saddened, and I'm thoughts and prayers with all of those who are impacted directly and indirectly. But yeah, you know what? I mean, now we get more time with our family. We wouldn't have had. We get to slow down. I don't think it's bad to slow. I mean, obviously, I try to go 100 miles an hour all the time, and now it's kind of forcing us all to slow down a little bit and just reflect on life, reflect on things, and about our businesses as well. So yeah, it's not a bad time. Obviously, no one is thankful that this has happened, but gotta attack with a mindset that, okay, this happened, it's beyond our control, but we're gonna find a way to respond to it and take something positive from it.
So Austin, with several hundred franchisors paying attention to these conversations, in my opinion, and you didn't ask me to promote you this way, but I feel like your message is going to be so valuable on the other side of this, on how do you start over, because a lot of businesses got their sales up and it just the floor fell out. The world as they expected it was completely opposite, and they're sitting there, and you're right, it's their lives and how they're facing their bad days. But I feel like your story is the perfect story to put it into perspective. I feel like, probably the best example that I could give to humans trying to understand coronavirus right now, if they're tuning into like a CNN and watching Chris Cuomo, who's going through it in real time on his show, like, we all look for someone to say they've been through something. How do we use that to put scaffolding around the experiences that we're going through? So my question is, how do you start over? How do you get back to day one? And you've done it twice. And then secondly, my comment is to anybody who's watching this, I feel like your story is going to be the anthem of small business. I feel like, I definitely want to hear your answer, but I feel honored to be able to share a moment with you, because I feel like it's so impactful to putting things into perspective.
Yeah, well, thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate it. First of all, I'd be honored to speak at any and all conferences and put things in perspective and help any business and their feet. And I think, because my big thing is, part of my message is really, we just got to get through it, right? We just got to put our head down and just find a way to get through it. But my whole thing is about, I wanted to thrive in the midst of the adversity that I faced. I don't want to just survive and just barely get by. Getting by is great. So a lot of people, sometimes that's just what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to stay afloat, make just enough business to make just enough money to keep the business alive. And then, in a year, then they can get back to thriving. But my thing is like, as soon as I come out of that coma, they said I'm going to be in the hospital for 6 to 8 more months. I said, no, I'm going to thrive. I'm going to thrive right now. I'm going to get out in 2 months. Right. And it's just like you just got to make that decision. We don't want to just survive this. No restaurant just wants to survive. And obviously there's some things that are beyond our control, but I mean, why not thrive? I mean, a lot of the time, it just comes down to the decision to attack it with that kind of mindset. But back to your second question, how do you get back? Just get back that first day after everything has happened. I think you just gotta make the decision in your mind that we're not going to allow something beyond our control to determine the course of our life or determine the course of the future of our business. Because the thing about it, guys, is everyone in the world is impacted by coronavirus. It's not just like it's a handful of restaurants, a handful of franchisees, whatever it may be. Everyone is. And like I said at the very beginning, not many people are going to attack this obstacle with the mindset, okay, this happened. We're not thankful that it happened, obviously, but we're going to attack this in a way that we're going to turn the negative into a positive, and we're going to use it to get better, and we're going to use it to learn lessons that we wouldn't have learned otherwise. We're going to find a way to take a positive from this. I mean, I wouldn't think that's a common mindset to have in the restaurant industry, but those who have that mindset, that's a way to give themselves a competitive advantage, because if we can attack this adversity with the right mentality when we face future adversity, because this isn't the last form of adversity we're ever going to face as a country, as business owners, right? But if we can attack this with the mindset that, okay, here's what we did when we faced a big one. Now every other adversity that we face, we can remember what we did, and that's the way I look at it now. It's like, obviously I faced a big one, a couple of big ones. And I think we got to live our lives in a way that prepares us for the big one. We got to, approach the smaller forms of adversity in a way that'll, help us approach the big one with the same kind of mindset. But yeah, when we overcome, it's not, never think if. It's not. I don't think if we're going to overcome it. I think when, right? And when we overcome this, if we approach this the right way, we'll look back on it, and I don't want to say be thankful for the lesson that we learned, but be thankful that we were forced to adapt and forced to respond in the way that we did, because what we're going through right now, I think there's a way we can approach this to the mindset that'll be beneficial to us down the road.
Yeah, I share Nick's sentiments, Austin. I am grateful for this, as Nick calls it, a moment to, I mean, I'm in awe, aside from all, just what you've accomplished. And what's interesting is that you have a very unique perspective, and it's so interesting for me to see how you process and approach these issues. And it may sound simple, it would, coming from me, but hearing it from you and you boiling this down to, it's a decision, right? That you have to make a decision to thrive, I think you said. And I think that says a lot. And I think also your comment about being thankful to being forced to make these decisions, right? To take this action, make that decision to thrive. That is powerful. And then Nick, connecting it with franchisors, franchisees, franchise brands. Coming from Austin, it really puts things in perspectives about these decisions that lie ahead, because they're very manageable decisions. And, and I think we're all going to be judged by the actions we take right now. And I think that those are amazing points, Austin.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for your kind words. But yeah, you know what? Like I said before, the competitive advantage is to attack these with the mentality that we're going to. No one in the world is thankful for the obstacles that are being posed by the virus or any adversity that happens as a result. But I think, like for me, I'm obviously not thankful for the events that happened in my life, but I'm thankful for the journey. I'm thankful. The same will be true in the franchise business. I mean, not by everyone, but by some people, they'll approach this with the right kind of mindset, and that'll help them learn things. And they won't be thankful for the virus or thankful for any issues posed by it, but they'll be thankful for the lesson that they learned. Because there's a quote that says, I don't remember who said it, but it says, if you learn to use it right, the adversity that you face can buy you a ticket to a place you couldn't have gone any other way. And it's basically, that's exactly what I'm saying. If we learn to approach this adversity or any adversity with the right mentality, it'll help us go places that we wouldn't have been able to go otherwise. Like for me now, I travel around the country speaking, sharing my story adding value to companies and organizations of all kinds, about talking about overcoming adversity, perseverance, and thriving in the midst of adversity. If I didn't go through what I did, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm obviously not thankful that I went through what I did, but since it happened, why not find a way to turn that negative into a positive?
Such an incredible mindset. And again, we appreciate the time. I would love to end this on a prediction. You being a sports fan, what happens with sports, and do we get back to normalcy anytime in the near future?
Yeah, I would say I'll leave that up to the smart people, to the doctors. They obviously know a lot more than me, and the people who are gonna, treating this virus and stuff. Hopefully, it gets back soon. But yeah, I don't know if, like, obviously the NBA season got ended a little earlier than we all would have wanted. But hopefully we'll have a football season in the fall. I don't really know how to answer your question. I mean, the way I look at it, yes, I think we will get back to normalcy. Now, it's not a question of if we get back; it's a question of when. Kind of how I was talking about, like, about overcoming it. It's not, I never, like, for me, but I never thought to myself, when I came out of that coma, I came out of that, when I realized all that I lost, realized the tough road that I had ahead of me. I never thought to myself, you know what, Austin, it would be really nice if you overcome this. If you get to Michigan, it'd be really nice if you get there. It'd be right. No, because I'm gonna control the controllables. I'm gonna work too hard. There's no way that I can't accomplish my goals. There's no way that I don't recover. And, like, for these restaurants, for any franchise business, if we do the right things, if we control the controllables, there's no way that we can't thrive in the midst of this. So,
Nick, I don't want to hold you too long, Austin.
No, you're fine. We can go as long as you guys want.
As you're speaking, I was just curious who you would have predicted in the Final Four, and how do some of those seniors feel with the season ending? What's your thoughts on that, on how they must feel about that?
Yeah, well, it's terrible that their careers had to end a few months early. And I'm actually going on a podcast tomorrow to talk to some senior athletes who've had their careers end early, and hopefully provide them some perspective and encouragement. But yeah, because it's obviously it's terrible. All the repercussions of the virus, because we think it's it's impacting businesses, it's impacting schools, it's impacting sport. It's impacting everything, right? It's basically this virus has had about as profound of an impact on life as anything in my lifetime in the last 25 years.
Yeah, those college athletes, especially you see teams gearing up for the tournament, and you realize how much they put into it. And who would you have had in the Final Four?
Oh, let's see. Who would I have had in the Final Four? Would have loved to see Michigan there. I think they could have peaked at the right time. I think I'm gonna say Michigan. It would have depended on how the bracket looks. Who's in what zone and what region and everything. But I think Michigan could have been there. Duke could have been there. Michigan State was pretty good, unfortunately. I think maybe we would have beat Michigan State in the national championship game. That would have been cool. It's really too bad that those seniors had their careers end. But I was doing an interview a couple weeks ago about it, and just so unfortunately, not to compare. Like I said, I never compare, but my basketball career ended early. Unfortunately, 6 years too early. But it is what it is. Basketball is temporary. I wasn't going to play past college anyways. But yeah, so I just hang on to those memories and hang on to the lessons are going to be with us the rest of our life. And those things that we learn from sports will be with us, how we approach our life, how we approach business, how we approach marriage, how we how you approach anything is how you approach everything. Right. And how we approach, how the athletes, because they're students and they're athletes. Because playing sports at the college level, obviously it's awesome. It's so fun, but it's a job, right? You're putting 30, 40 hours a week into something. That's a job, right? And you're going to school on scholarship, but you're earning it. I mean, it's like they don't just give you a scholarship for free, right? I mean, you gotta earn it and give them a little return on their investment. But yeah, so it's I just think it's so important to look at that. Look at the whole, the obviously it's terrible that the seasons had to end early, but be thankful for the journey and be thankful for the lessons learned. That's my big thing. So,
Austin, we greatly appreciate thank you for sharing a little bit of your story. I will certainly be rooting for you in whatever you do and whatever dream comes next. And certainly Charles and I will both make sure that we're saying go find your story, because I really do think it's going to be an anthem for what happens when we get out of some of this mess.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'd be honored to speak and add value at any and all franchise conferences or any conference for that matter. Because like I said at the beginning, we all face adversity, and we're all going to face a big one at some point. But it's about how we respond to it.
Austin, do you have a website people could go to?
I don't have a website yet. It's I need to get that going. But I mean, I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. That's probably. I mean, I post a lot of content on LinkedIn, a lot of clips of my speaking.
Sure.
That'd be the best way that people can reach out to me. My email's on there, and if anyone follows me on LinkedIn, I follow them back. So,
okay,
you can communicate that way as well.
That's awesome, Austin. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Best wishes. Stay healthy and stay positive.
Take care, Austin. Thank you.
Oh, what an inspirational story, right?
Yeah, Nick, I have two sons, right? And one is senior in college, one is senior in high school. And you talked, so I'm a dad, you're a dad, I'm old. And you look at Austin, the way I look at his son, right? And, there's so much there. Just so much. I mean,
everything, and not by choice. I mean, like, if you think about what stories are going to come out of this thing, it's certainly going to be those that the survivor stories. Like that's what the world is going to look at as the posters of celebration on the other side of this. But I mean, part of our vision in bringing Austin on today was to say, like, I mean, still, I know he does not want to make comparisons, right. But how can your day be? He had 2 plane crashes where he survives and his whole family does not.
Right. And Nick, days after he signs with Michigan, right? So you have that. What's interesting to me is, he just got me when he talked about the suicides and coming in last every time. But even when you look at the operating system of how he approaches things, it becomes like a very, not basic, but you get back to basic levels, which for Austin is you just have to make a decision and then do it, right? Which sounds so basic, but when you hear it from him, it says a lot. And then what's interesting, it all gets back to character, because doing 1,000 suicides and knowing you're going to come in last every time, that's just keeping your consistency with your character. And I guess, telling that story is going to mean also for brands and all of us, how do we make sure our actions match up with our character, right? So I don't know.
It's something we should be looking at in our, if we get back to the place of bringing on franchisees. I still think we touched on this a little bit this morning. Part of the challenge of what makes a brand get stunted or stalled is the quality of the technician. That person, what is their character and grit? I mean, you think like an Austin shows up at a Meet the Team or Dive In or Discovery Day, whatever you call it. You hear that story. I mean, how would you not bet on that? Like, and that's the intangible. And I think some brands have had such heavy pressures to grow, but have grown wrong. because the pressure forces you to say yes to people that should not be in your brand. And if you can be reflective and think about what it would be like to be going to war with a group of people like Austin, like Brenda's rally cry this morning. I mean, like,
yeah, no,
they're super awesome people that you want on your team, and you get here. That's the word decision. You have the decision. You own the decision and what you want to do with this as we go forward.
Yeah, no, and Austin's taken out all the noise, right? It's just those singular decisions. And it's interesting. I didn't even think of that. It's funny because on the flip side of this, no one is going to have patience, time, or inclination to deal with bullshit or even to listen to it, right? Charlatans, salespeople, that's all out the door. And then and again, what you said, I didn't even think of, because a guy like Austin on your team at a discovery day is pretty powerful. And it's only powerful for two reasons. One, I'm sure Austin's only going to do it if it's genuine. And two, your team's only going to see the value if they're genuine about their purpose and values and what they're doing. And he wouldn't be there just, it's got to fit in with the overall framework of leadership, team, and goals. But again, you see it again, like talk about Brenda, Michael from Pool Scouts. Again, you can't fake this stuff, right? And my hope is when I wake up in the morning to know I've always been genuine and to live up to all these conversations, right? And to do that for our team. And so, because it's funny, because again, I'm conflicted, right? We're working nonstop. People will be talking about, I'll even get texts from people like, no one wants more webinars. I'm like, A, I don't think we're doing that, but B is I'm really trying to do this to give a community for myself, my team, and our clients. And I keep saying to our conversations are always about building the relationship. So at least why not now give back and create a community where we could all help each other? And again, because I'm conflicted, because sometimes I'm like, I don't want this to appear the wrong way, but I wake up in the morning and I check our Facebook community because I get inspiration, and I love when our clients are there. I know we have upcoming conversations with some of our firm's clients, and I know you've done that for yours. And I love Brenda's point about creating a time capsule. So that's where I feel good about all this.
Yeah, look, it's not about the numbers of people that necessarily watch it. I'm super proud of the audience that we've captured, the attention that we've gained through these conversations. But I mean, we're creating lasting content that if you need to go find something, you need to listen to someone else talk. Forget about the two of us. We're given a platform there too. I mean, the reality is all the franchise or business shows are fairly political in who they let have a voice, and we gave voices to people that don't get the stage time, and I would argue that all of them deserve it. Like, there are some really, really smart human beings that don't get put on stages at these conferences. Now you have Austin and Anthony, obviously, that are paid professionals in this category. They're separate. I'm talking about the franchise people that we're letting have voice. I don't know. As this gets split up and there's more purpose into this, I think people are going to really appreciate our shift. That it's no longer a webinar. These are conversations with human beings to give you an insight, and you don't even have to watch the whole thing. You watch the first 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes of it has a message. So.
Yeah, and look, I think you could see I'm taking notes, right? So I'm learning along the way, and for the people that are sharing, I hope these videos at least help document their time capsule as they come on the other side. Because so far, every brand we've spoken to, I think, has something incredible on the other side. So I think that's really good. That's what's motivating me.
Thank you for all of the conversations with.
Nick, I'll talk to you later. Take care.
Of course.
Thanks, everyone.